Canadian Creepies is recorded on the traditional lands of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples, under the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. These lands and waters have been cared for since long before Canada existed, and they remain deeply important to Indigenous communities today. As we tell stories about darkness, injustice, and memory, I want to acknowledge the very real histories of colonization, violence, and erasure that Indigenous peoples continue to endure. A land acknowledgement can't undo that harm, but it is a reminder to keep listening, learning, and supporting in truth and reconciliation in meaningful ways. We share these stories not to forget, but to shine light, always with respect for peoples and nations whose land we live on. Canadian Creepies covers true crime, dark history, and disturbing events. Some episodes may include graphic descriptions or sensitive subject matter. We do our best to handle every story with care and respect for those affected. That said, we sometimes use humor and sarcasm as a way to process heavy content, never to disrespect victims, survivors, or their families. Listener discretion is advised.
This sounds nice and crisp today.
It is crisp.
Yeah.
Hello, and welcome back to Canadian Creepies. I am your co-host, Valerie.
And I'm Amanda. Thanks for creeping with us today.
I like that. Thanks for creeping with us today. You, if you're tuning into this, which you would only be hearing this if you were, this is part 2 of Blood and Brotherhood. The White Boy Posse.
The hilariously named
White Boy Posse.
You know, for a group that has such terrifying ideology and reputation, bad marketing with the name choice.
Really bad marketing. Okay, let's rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first.
Oh, okay.
Wait, are we going to do rock, paper, scissors, shoot, or just rock, paper, scissors?
Shoot.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. We didn't decide anything, so I won that, but we don't know what that means.
Then you pick.
I will start.
All right.
Okay.
For those listening, she chose scissors and I chose paper.
Yeah.
Fail.
It was a one and done. Okay. So we left off at the 2012 murder spree, where Laurie Santos was murdered and Brian Gower, was that his name? I think.
Sure. Gower is correct.
Gower's correct, yeah. Okay. So there was an additional Edmonton homicide in October of 2012. In October, just weeks after the killings of Santos and Gower, Edmonton police tied another homicide to White Boy Posse members. The victim, a man with connections to the drug scene, was executed in a targeted attack. Why it mattered? This marked the third homicide in roughly 6 weeks connected to the gang, intensifying police crackdowns and cementing the White Boy Posse's reputation for reckless, deadly violence.
Woof. That's a lot in a short period of time.
That's if it was a serial killer, people would be freaking out. I mean, I'm sure the people of Edmonton were freaking out at this time.
And especially since the Santos murder was
an accident.
Yeah, they didn't mean to target. Yeah, whoops. Wrong address.
My bad.
You think you'd maybe want to tone it down just a notch or two?
Let's start measuring twice and cutting once here, guys.
You know, that analogy works in more than just shop class.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So there were 2 more murders, and the names of those victims were Barry Bonke and Bonk and Susan Trudell, and this was in 2009 outside of Edmonton. What happened were the bodies of Barry, who was 68, and Trudell, who was 50, were found shot to death on a rural property near Edmonton in 2009. 2 teenage associates of the White Boy Posse were charged in connection with the murders. Why does this matter? Though predating the 2012 spree, these killings highlighted the gang's capacity to involve younger recruits in extreme violence. Yeah, these were 2 teenage associates of the White Boy Posse, so they weren't even in the White Boy Posse. They were just like associates, and they were...
Let us join!
Yeah, they were in the initiation phase, I suppose. That blurred the line between older hardcore members and impressionable teens. It also reinforced the gang's ability to terrorize rural communities, not just cities.
I feel like the rural communities would feel even less protected because
Yes.
there's fewer resources.
Totally. Yep.
Like,
By the fall of 2012, the White Boy Posse had been connected to at least 3 murders in Edmonton and 1 in Saskatoon within weeks. This level of violence was shocking for a mid-sized gang. These murders weren't isolated incidents. They were part of a pattern designed to protect control. Each killing amplified the posse's reputation as a group willing to kill recklessly, whether for business, punishment, or contracts.
gross.
So gross. And the law enforcement response to this was, it was this spree that led the RCMP to call the White Boy Posse one of the most dangerous criminal organizations in Western Canada. The gang had graduated from a meth running crew to a headline-making menace.
With a very hilarious, non-imposing name.
Yeah, with a not threatening name at all. Even like the initials, WBP.
What are you, the
What
Kitty
is
Cat
that?
Club?
Yeah, the WBP.
You sound cute and cuddly.
Wonderful, beautiful, perfect. That's it. The WBP. Wonderful, beautiful, and perfect. Okay, so let's talk about Laurie Santos again, just for those of you who don't remember.
She was a big one.
Big one. The most tragic example of the gang's recklessness was the murder of 34-year-old Laurie Ann Santos in Saskatoon. She had no connection to drugs, gangs, or organized crime. She was targeted purely by mistake when gunmen showed up at the wrong house for a contract killing. The randomness of her death terrified communities. It showed that WBP's violence wasn't confined to the underworld. There were also public executions. So WBP members often carried out shootings or beatings in open public spaces. Brian Gower's murder in an Edmonton alley wasn't hidden. It was a spectacle of dominance. These public killings reinforced their reputation for not caring who saw or who else might be harmed. That will be terrifying. You're just shopping. Dun, 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 dun.
I mean, isn't that the States right now?
Oh, yeah, I guess. People from the States. We do have some States listeners. Shout out to you guys. We love you. The gang's meth business brought violence into rural towns and small communities that weren't accustomed to organized crime. Families found themselves living near WBP associates with drug houses, intimidation, and sudden violence spilling onto quiet streets. Even those not directly involved in the drug scene felt unsafe. Yeah, you get just like a bunch of skinheads moving in next door. No thanks.
Your next door neighbor is just a lady getting her kids ready for school and gets gunned down in her own fucking front yard.
Okay, no problem.
This is normal.
Happy Monday. Mondays, am I right?
What is the young girl who shot up the school in the 60s? And
yeah, I don't like Mondays.
Yeah.
I forget her name, but yeah, that was a thing. Yeah.
If you know what we're referencing, let us know.
Comment somewhere, anywhere. I'll find it. Police noted that WBP violence was not always strategic. No shit.
I mean,
couldn't have been.
That was a pretty
with
big
that many
botch.
cooks in the kitchen. You know,
literally meth
and they're
cooks.
all and they're all vying to, like, you know, they're operating a micro patriarchy within a patriarchy, like within a whole big system of patriarchy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're operating this little micro patriarchy.
It's a very
so
weird
they're all out
scheme.
to serve themselves. Yeah, it's fucked.
I don't like it.
I hate it.
It's weird.
I actually hate it. But I mean, you do you. If this is you,
or maybe
listening,
in this case, don't
get help.
Don't become a white
Seek
supremacist.
out counseling, please.
We said this in the last episode. Volunteer.
Yeah.
Soup kitchen.
There's plenty of
Humane
spaces
Society.
that need you.
Walk a dog. Touch grass,
please. Okay, sometimes victims were chosen for being in the wrong place at the wrong time, or because they were perceived as connected to rivals without firm proof. This is like a witch hunt. Somebody's like,
yes,
Stacy's connected to the dragons.
Did you see that? She wore a red sweater yesterday.
Yeah, that's dragon shit.
Mm-hmm.
This unpredictability magnified public fear. Anyone could be next. The Nazi branding heightened this sense of randomness. Seeing men with swastikas on their faces carrying out assaults or murders suggested that their actions were not bound by logic or restraint. Yeah, that's exactly what that gives.
What was clue number one?
You're not serving scary, you're serving unhinged. Communities felt they were dealing with people willing to kill for ideology as much for profit.
Because they were.
They were. But they didn't even, they're hypocrites. And anyway, breathe together.
Serenity now.
Serenity now. The WBP's brutality, it made them stand out even among other violent gangs. Their willingness to spill innocent blood blurred the line between organized crime and domestic terrorism. For ordinary Canadians, it meant that you didn't have to be in the game to be a victim. Woof.
It's like, how do you protect yourself?
You don't. You don't. What do you do?
Yeah. Move.
You move. After the murder of Lori-Ann Santos, residents in Saskatoon described a new kind of fear. The idea that violence could spill into any home, even the home of an innocent mother. For families across the prairies, the message was chilling. If it could happen to her, it could happen to anyone. Mm-hmm. In rural Alberta, where meth trafficking and gang disputes had begun to surface, people reported feeling as if the White Boy Posse had brought big city gang violence into their backyards. Parents worried about their kids being drawn in, while neighbors feared reprisals simply for living near suspected members or drug houses. Yeah, imagine if somebody you didn't know moved in next door and it's like now they assume you're, oh my goodness. The amount of cortisol rushing through everyone's body just...
And again, because you had a red sweater on or, a jean leather jacket, like you had work boots that looked like leather boots, like were biker boots.
Oh my goodness.
That's a terrifying concept.
Yeah. The brazenness of alley shootings and public beatings magnified community anxiety. It wasn't just who was killed, it was how openly it was done. Mm-hmm. Residents described feeling that the posse wanted everyone to see what they were capable of.
Well, I think so, because that was part of their reputation. Yeah. That's how they built their name.
We'll do this.
Yeah. Be scared of us.
Full on.
Yeah.
Local and national outlets seized on the gang's shocking mix of ideology and brutality. Headlines about swastika tattoos, white power slogans, and the innocent mother murdered narrative made the WBP sound like something out of a horror story. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The imagery, the Nazi symbols, hate-filled tattoos was so striking that it often overshadowed the details of the drug trafficking. The media, in effect, amplified the gang's intended brand: violence, hate, and fear. RCMP and Edmonton police statements calling the WBP one of the most dangerous criminal organizations in Western Canada were heavily quoted. These phrases fueled national coverage and cemented the gang's image in the public mind as uniquely threatening. And even after major arrests, communities reported that the name White Boy Posse carried weight. The randomness of their violence and the brutal murder of an innocent woman left scars that outlasted the gang's peak years. Wow.
That's fun.
Isn't it?
So the RCMP and the multiple police task forces had an immediate response to the murders. After the brutal killings in 2012, especially the mistaken hit on Lori Santos triggered a multi-agency crackdown.
That's great. I'm glad they did that.
For a change, they did their jobs.
Wow. Hey.
Look at you doing stuff and things. You deserve
men in STEM.
Oh boy. Both the RCMP and municipal police services in Edmonton, Saskatoon, and surrounding jurisdictions began treating the White Boy Posse not just as a street gang, but as a high-priority organized crime threat.
Because they were.
I mean,
I'd say
not
when you're
wrong.
Publicly executing
calling a spade
innocent
a spade.
Citizens.
Between late 2012 and 2014, police launched coordinated raids on WBP safe houses, drug stashes, and suspected hideouts. The Edmonton Police Service executed search warrants that netted firearms, meth, and cash. Saskatoon Police Saskatoon Police Services, in partnership with the RCMP, moved quickly after the Santos killing to round up any suspects directly tied to the botch hit. Which, yeah.
Botched hit. That's fucked up.
That still blows my mind. How could you be so wrong?
Too much for me.
Like, how are you looking, like, First of all, you're looking for a guy.
Yeah.
And here it comes.
Maybe he grew his hair out.
Susie Homemaker.
Yeah. He got implants, I guess.
That's a really good disguise. The task force spanned across Alberta and Saskatchewan, reflecting how widely the gang had spread. Project Goliath connections.
Ooh, Project Goliath.
It sounds promising. I want to say hesitantly.
We don't put too much faith in the cops, but hey,
they did something.
They're doing something. They're making choices.
Which is more than usual.
That's right.
An executive decision was made.
And they're moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Some officers pointed out that the WBP had targeted as far back as the Goliath Project, which was from 2006 to 2008, when the RCMP claimed that they had crippled the group with large seizures and arrests. But the violence of 2012 showed that the posse had survived and regrouped. This time, police emphasized that they were aiming to dismantle, not just disrupt. I mean, shouldn't that have been your, tactic?
You were trying to just disrupt it before? Maybe they were like, let's disrupt it and hope it implodes. Slap
on the wrist. Finger shake.
Yeah.
Bad puppies.
Yeah. Trying to get like I think police are always also naively hopeful to like turn the right people, and I do know they get CIs. I do know of that, but I think they put maybe too much faith in that.
Yeah, actually, John and I were talking about this recently with a place that was raided near our pharmacy a couple of weeks ago, and we were reading the article and it didn't name the names of the people they arrested.
Yeah.
And John's like, because they're trying to flip them. They don't want their names out there because then if shit does go down and they end up arresting a bunch of people in connection, everyone else will know it was these people who did it. So I get where they're coming from. I understand the purpose, but let's maybe imply some other tactics while that's going on,
Let's get to the root cause of shit. That's just,
a suggestion.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Let's start there.
There were a dozen of gang associates that were arrested during this period on charges ranging from drug trafficking and weapon possession to first-degree murder. The scale of the arrest demonstrated the gang's footprint, not just in Edmonton, but in towns like Whitecourt, Grand Prairie, and Saskatoon. The police leaders spoke openly about the threat. The RCMP called WBP one of the most dangerous criminal organizations in Western Canada. The Edmonton police emphasized the need to send a message that ideological branded violence would not be tolerated. The statement reassured the public, but also underscored just how serious the law enforcement viewed that threat. By 2014, coordinated raids had decimated the WBP's leadership and infrastructure.
Hey, that's good.
You did the thing! The gang still had scattered members and affiliates, but its ability to carry out high-profile killings and dominate drug turf was greatly reduced.
That's great.
Good for you. See what happens when you put your minds to something. Cooperation, doing it together. There was
junction.
What's that function? Canadian kids know. The Project K division in Alberta. Following the violent spree of 2012, the RCMP's Alberta K division spearheaded a dedicated operation against the White Boy Posse. It wasn't just a routine investigation, rather a full-scale organized crime project. Pooling intelligence from multiple detachments, the Edmonton Police Service, and national organized crime units. The raids in Edmonton and northern Alberta seized firearms, methamphetamine, cash, vehicles, all tied to WBP trafficking. The operation specifically targeted the gang's drug distribution networks, aiming to cut off meth and cocaine pipelines that reached into rural towns. Yeah.
Great idea.
Perfect.
Cool.
Dozens of suspected members and associates were arrested with charges ranging from drug trafficking to weapon possession and parole violations. Those sneaky parole violations, they'll get you every time.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in Saskatchewan, in the wake of Laurie Santos' murder, the I want to say Saskatoon. Oh, it is Saskatoon in that part. There we go.
You got it.
Look at me reading. Saskatoon police and the RCMP units conducted an investigation dragnet for the WBP-linked suspects. Key members tied to the hit were arrested and charged with first-degree murder. Fucking right. Additional associates were picked up on drug and weapon charges, many of them already under surveillance as part of an ongoing investigation into organized crime activity in Saskatoon. The Santos case created public and political pressure for the Saskatchewan authorities to act swiftly, making it one of the largest anti-gang enforcement pushes in the province at the time.
Wow.
I mean, I guess so. It's kind of sad that it had to take the murder of an innocent mother
to get there, but
I mean, sure.
I guess.
Heavy size.
Yeah, I guess.
They expanded into the Northwest Territories arrests. Particularly Yellowknife had long been noted in law enforcement. Members were linked to trafficking meth and cocaine into northern communities. Markets there were similar but highly profitable due to scarcity.
Oof.
They actually have a lot of drug addicts and issues going on there, and they have very little resources to help those individuals in
It's
need.
really sad.
So they get flown all over the rest of the country in an attempt to help them with no resources to keep them on track when they go back home. It's a really sad situation.
Yeah.
The RCMP detachments in the Northwest Territories arrested several of the WBP-linked traffickers, effectively cutting off the northern supply chain. The gang's presence in Yellowknife and other northern towns has been described as tentacles reaching north.
Oof.
That does sound more ominous than White Boy Posse.
Yes.
Showing that the WBP wasn't just...
The TRN.
I like it. Showing that the WBP wasn't just an urban Edmonton problem, but a network capable of penetrating remote areas. I mean, in that regard, that is it's a smart tactic for a business. You know, if you were a legitimate business, go where the resources are scarce.
That's right.
But just make sure what you're doing is legal.
Yes. And not hurting anyone.
Yes. Emphasize that. These coordinated arrests across Alberta, Saskatchewan, and the Northwest Territories showed the multi-jurisdictional threat posed by the WBP. What started in Edmonton as a small street crew had grown into a gang stretching across provinces and territories, and dismantling them required national-level cooperation. The leaders were arrested, cells splintered, but the ideology and remnants still exist.
Oof, I hate that. But they do. We're going to talk about that soon.
Getting into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Even though we've already talked nitty gritty, there's more to come.
There's more nitty gritty. We're getting nittier and grittier.
And grittier by the moment. By our terrible accents. I love it. By 2013 and 2014, many of the White Boy Posse's most visible leaders and enforcers had been arrested or killed. Those directly tied to the Laurie Santos murder were handed first-degree murder charges, and others faced convictions for drug trafficking, weapon offenses, and parole violations. The loss of central figures, the ones who controlled the supply lines and enforced discipline, left the gang without a clear chain of command. Without strong leadership, the gang fractured into regional cliques and loose cells. In Edmonton, small...
Like little high school girls.
It really is.
They all went off to college.
You can't sit at our table.
You can't.
Wednesdays, we wear pink, and you can't sit with us.
That's right.
In Edmonton, smaller crews carried on low-level drug trafficking. In rural Alberta and Saskatchewan, scattered members continue to operate, often under the radar, but without the cohesion and muscle that had once made the White Boy Posse notorious. Some members drifted into other outlaw networks, particularly bike-affiliated drug crews. And others simply continued to hustle meth or cocaine on a much smaller scale, using the WBP name as more of a badge of personal identity than an organizational structure. Even as the organization weakened, the Nazi-inspired identity didn't vanish.
Blech.
I mean, it's tattoos on your face.
It's gross.
Tattoos.
I don't mind face tattoos. Those are fine.
But those face tattoos.
But the offensive face tattoos, I do mind.
You have a swastika on your forehead.
Nobody cares about that.
Maybe Charles Manson did at a time. But
At a time.
he doesn't count.
No.
Tattoo swastikas and the 1488 slogans remained etched into bodies of members and ex-members. For some, the ideology had become a part of their self-image, something they carried even when the criminal structure collapsed. Law enforcement and journalists noted that some remnants of the group still openly displayed white supremacy tattoos years later, keeping the imagery alive even if the gang itself was largely broken.
If your whole identity is just hating other people for the way they look or who they love, get fucked.
Aren't you tired? Like, take a nap.
I'm so tired. I was listening to a podcast. It's called Bubble Pop, and it was with Rachel Gilmore. And this man works with reformed white supremacists, and he said the biggest thing about is like every day they, like, some of his clients would wake up, they're like, I wake up so tired because who do I have to hate today?
Yeah.
You know,
I had
to hate today.
I had an ex-boyfriend that was like that. And like the one day, whatever was on the news had triggered him again. And I just looked at him and I'm like, fuck, it must be exhausting being you.
Honestly, I couldn't imagine being that angry all the time.
There's a reason I'm not with him anymore.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
The WBP linked individuals have continued to surface in prisons, small town drug cases, and extremist circles. In correctional facilities, the gang's hate-fueled branding still gives members protection and identity. Prison is very cliquey as well. Extremely. Yeah. That makes sense to me. Not that it's good, but I understand.
Right.
The rural towns, lone actors, and pairs of former WBP members still show up in busts, often tied to meth trafficking.
Naturally is what I said.
Have that fix.
Yeah.
Even if the gang no longer operates as a cohesive force with the name White Boy Posse, that name still carries weight. For communities that lived through the killings of 2012, the memories of the swastika-clad enforcers and random brutality linger. For law enforcement, the WBP remains a case study of how hate and crime can merge into something volatile, violent, and hard to stamp out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
It is hard to stamp out because people really cling to, like, hate is such, like, that feeling of hate. I think we all know, like, when you get it, sometimes you just, like, ride that wave and it's like you never feel good after.
You know what's really fucked up is...
It doesn't bring you anything because there's always going to be someone else or something else to hate. You never get any closure or any peace. You're always just hating.
What's really fucked up is I read an article recently about how hating the same person or thing can actually bond you closer than having things in common.
Yeah, you
like
would know so much about them if you hate them so much. If
right?
You're going out of your way to...
Just so we're aware, the opposite of love is not hate. It's indifference.
Yeah, yeah.
Two very different things than what is going on here.
Yeah. Because hate can come from a variety of other reasons. Like, you could hate someone because you're jealous of them.
Yeah.
You know what
you want to
mean?
be them.
You want to be them.
You want what they have. You covet what they have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or you could just be mad at them. I don't know.
Like,
we're not dissecting.
White Boy Posse, what are you hating on? Black people's nice skin? Like, I get it. I too wish I had those creamy complexions,
but we don't.
Deal with it. Get a moisturizer.
Get a tinted moisturizer.
Sunscreen.
That's right. We are not enforcing anyone to go blackface. That is not
No.
Nor are we trying to say we wish we were black, because that's not what we're saying at all. We are.
Every time I watch a black actor on TV, I'm like, they have such pretty skin.
I'm trying to decide if that's a microaggression or not. Someone tell us.
Yeah, please correct me if I'm wrong here. Yes.
We'll sort it out, because I know, like, you. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it as a
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a little jealous.
But you don't hate them.
But I don't hate... No. That's not a good reason to hate anybody.
Amanda's racist.
If you killed my cat... different story.
A couple of white ladies just trying to figure it out.
We're just trying to... Navigating life.
Just trying to figure it out.
I went way off track with that. The White Boy Posse left behind a blueprint of how hate and profit can merge. They weren't the first white supremacist group in Canada, and they weren't the largest organized crime outfit. But by blending neo-Nazi ideology with the mechanics of drug trade, they created a hybrid that magnified both. At their peak, the White Boy Posse numbered in the dozen. Never mind. I got what I was saying.
Yep.
At the peak, the White Boy Posse numbered in the dozens, not hundreds. Yet their violence and imagery.
Dozens of them.
Right.
We're the White Boy Posse, and there's dozens of us.
It reminds me of we are the Munchkins from Munchkinville from The Wizard of Oz. Yeah. It's like, I wouldn't be threatened by the little Munchkin, the Lollipop Guild. No. Like, I'll take a sucker.
Thank you. Sorry, I have a case of yawns today.
It's all good. It's been one of those monthly transitions.
Fuck. Tell us about the trauma in your life recently.
Yes, please.
We don't have any advice.
We're just here in sympathized support.
That's right.
Unified support.
Yes, we're with you.
Yeah. Everybody's going through something.
Yeah, in parallel trauma.
Yeah.
You know, you've heard of parallel play? Well, parallel traumatices.
I like it.
Okay.
Not really, but, you know, smile and cry and bear through it. Fake it till you make it.
That's right.
So, yeah, they were very small, but their violence and imagery allowed them to punch far above their weight. The swastikas, the brutality, and the reckless killings gave them a reputation that outlasted their own organization structure. For the people in Edmonton and Saskatoon and the rural towns across the prairies, the WBP was a reminder that organized crime doesn't just happen in big cities. They brought murder, meth, and hate into small communities. And it left scars that lingered long after their decline. Police agencies learned that the threat of the WPP as just another gang underestimated their danger. The ideology element added volatile and unpredictability and symbolic terror. The crackdown against them reinforced the importance of multi-jurisdictional coordinations and when confronting gangs that spawn provinces and territories. Even in decline, the gang's imagery and ideology lived on in tattoos, prison affiliations, and white supremacy subcultures. That's fucked up that there are still subcultures of that.
Yeah.
The White Boy Posse showed how extremist branding can spread fear, attract recruits, and act as force multipliers for criminal activity. I got a little tongue-tied there.
That's okay.
Today, the WBP is less of an active criminal empire and more of a cautionary tale. Their story illustrates how quickly small crews can evolve into national threats when meth, disenfranchisement, biker culture, and hate collide. Like, that seems like a very niche thing
to just take off.
Right? But here we are.
But hey, when you live in a patriarchy and late stage capitalism, that's what you get. When you get a bunch of sticks rubbing together, they make fire sometimes.
Spark.
Yeah.
Their legacy endures both as a warning to law enforcement and as a gentle reminder to communities that ideology and crime, not gentle, sorry.
Thank you.
I'm just throwing in random words. That ideology and crime, when fused, create a uniquely dangerous enemy.
Yeah, they do. You. Yeah, you. Still haunting the same old fast fashion? Time to dig up something better with Back from the Dead Goods, a Canadian small business where forgotten threads get a second life and sustainability meets spooky. This isn't just upcycled clothing. It's resurrected fashion with an eerie edge. Handpicked, reworked, and revived, every piece is as unique as a ghost story whispered at midnight. And because you're a part of the Canadian Creepies family, you get an exclusive deal. Use code Canadian Creepies at checkout for 10% off. Find them lurking on Instagram, Etsy, and Poshmark. Links are in the episode description. Give your wardrobe a second chance at life, if you dare. Hey creeps, It's Valerie here, and if you're anything like us, you love capturing a moment, whether it's spooky, sweet, or somewhere delightfully in between. Let me introduce you to our go-to for stunning shots, Darkroom Photography, based right here in the heart of the Niagara region. Mel, the brilliant eye behind the lens, is a lifestyle and creative photographer who brings a little bit of magic and maybe a touch of mystery to every session. She's got all her prices listed right on her website, super transparent, no tricks, and she runs killer seasonal specials around Mother's Day, Halloween, Christmas, and more. I'm telling you, her Halloween sessions, creepy perfection. So, if you're in the Niagara area and looking to capture memories that are hauntingly beautiful, hit up Mel at mel@darkroomphotography.ca or check out her work at www.darkroomphotography.ca. That's Darkroom Photography, where your memories come to life, even in the dark. Looking for your next obsession? The Creators Collective Podcasts is your gateway to the dark, the chilling, and the downright fascinating. We're a community of independent podcasts with one goal: to share the best in true crime, paranormal tales, folklore, and unexplained mysteries. Whether you crave cold cases that won't stay closed, haunted histories that refuse to be forgotten, or stories that make you sleep with the lights on, there's a show waiting for you in the collective. And when you join us, you're not just listening to one podcast. You're stepping into a world of creators who love this stuff as much as you do. Check out the Creators Collective today. Follow the link in our show notes to discover your next favorite podcast. We'll be waiting for you. Support reproductive justice in Niagara. Niagara Reproductive Justice is a grassroots collective based in the Niagara Region of Ontario, working to increase visibility and access to sexual and reproductive health care. They support people seeking abortion and other essential care by offering transportation, financial assistance, logistical help, and emotional support. Here's how you can help. You can make a one-time donation. Send an e-transfer to niagarareproductivejustice@gmail.com. Your support helps cover costs like gas for volunteer drivers, overnight stays, childcare, and other urgent needs. You can also support monthly via Patreon. Join their Patreon and support the cause month to month. It's patreon.com/Niagara Reproductive Justice. And you can volunteer your time. NRJ is always looking for volunteers to help with driving, outreach, admin support, and community organizing. If you're looking to make a real impact in the Niagara region, this is a great place to start. Contact them via email or DM them on Instagram or Facebook to learn more. You can find them on Instagram at Niagara Reproductive Justice and on Facebook at Niagara Reproductive Justice. Help amplify access to reproductive care right here in our own backyard. Whether you donate, volunteer, or spread the word, you're a part of the movement. Ugh. Okay. Let's keep going.
Hooray and huzzah.
The creepy legacy. WBP is a cautionary tale and how ideology can weaponize crime. So they blended hate with profit. The WBP demonstrated how neo-Nazi ideology could be weaponized to amplify a criminal enterprise. While money was the primary driver, ideology gave their crimes a symbolic weight. A beating, a shooting, or even graffiti wasn't just about turf. It carried the added menace of racial hatred, not Rachel hatred, of racial hatred.
We hate all Rachels.
Yeah.
Who are we, Ross from Friends?
Yeah. This made communities feel that they weren't just dealing with criminals, but extremists waging a personal war. Many young men drawn into the WBP might have joined any gang that promised belonging, but the Nazi branding gave them a ready-made identity, not just a dealer, but a soldier in a so-called race war. For the disaffected, that mix of purpose and profit was seductive. And just like the lack of education, the lack of connectivity, and the lack of connectivity with a very a diverse group of people. Hate ideology gave members permission to go further than ordinary criminal logic might dictate. Killing an innocent woman wasn't just a tragic mistake. It was possible because the gang had already normalized dehumanization. Ideology created a mindset where brutality didn't require justification. This story is a warning about what happens when ideology is added to organized crime. Hate doesn't replace greed, it shapes it, magnifies it, and makes it far more dangerous. A small group of meth dealers became a national menace because they weaponized identity as effectively as they sold drugs. They had like an outlaw disguise. So this is the danger of white supremacy hiding under the cover of outlaw culture, which I feel like is very relevant today. Okay.
I mean,
bikers are not outlaws.
No.
I'm not speaking about every biker ever here, but in biker gangs, they're not outlaws. Okay. There's a lot of drug trade. There's a lot, as we're talking about here, this group was mainly bikers, and I'm not trying to stigmatize any. My mom rides, my stepdad rides, my dad rides.
There's already an unfair stigmatism attached to it, and I think that's what they capitalize on.
They do capitalize on that, yeah. And it is like, you know, riding a bike is cool and fun, and wearing leather is cool and fun, and being on the open road is cool and fun.
Friday the 13th Dover days, and there's a community,
and there's a great community. But all of those things, when there's no gang involvement, all of those things are also safe.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
when done properly and with intention, safe. Anyway, I don't even know where I was going with that. So the outlaw disguise.
You sounded like me 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. On the surface, the White Boy Posse looked like many other outlaw crews. Leather jackets, biker aesthetics, meth dealing, and street violence. See, even if like the idea of an outlaw, if you're romanticizing the idea of an outlaw, they're still probably dealing drugs. Okay? This outlaw look gave them cover, making them appear as just another criminal gang competing in Alberta's drug economy. Beneath the surface, the Nazi tattoos and 1488 slogans revealed their deeper allegiance, but because they wrapped these symbols inside the already menacing world of biker and street gang culture, their ideology could be dismissed as just a part of the aesthetic, and this allowed them to move meth and guns while authorities initially underestimated the ideological threat. And by merging with biker style, the WBP normalized the presence of white supremacist iconography in mainstream organized crime circles. What could have been flagged as extremist activity was blurred into the background of gang violence. This made it harder for communities and even law enforcement at first to separate ordinary gang intimidation from racially charged terror.
I don't really see a difference.
I don't see a difference either. Like, what the fuck? Nobody can't intimidate anyone.
Bad equals bad.
Yeah, that's right. Bad plus bad equals worse, I'd say even. The outlaw culture also made it easier to draw recruits who weren't initially ideologues. A young man might be attracted by the meth money or biker bravado and only later find himself tattooed with swastikas and parroting white power slogans. Outlaw culture acted as the bait. Ideology was layered on afterward. Why does this matter? This overlap created a pipeline. Say it with me, folks. 1, 2, 3. Pipeline. You make sure you yourself are not in the Christian nationalist pipeline, listener. Make sure of that. Criminals could become extremists and extremists could become criminals, with the lines blurring until both served the same purpose. That's what made the WBP especially dangerous. They proved that white supremacy doesn't always march in parades or rallies. Sometimes it rides in leather jackets, selling meth, hiding behind the mask of outlaw rebellion.
Finger snaps.
So white supremacy in Canada isn't just old history. It's alive and fucking violent. Mm-hmm. Canada often frames racism and white supremacy as part of old history tied to the Ku Klux Klan of the 1920s, the Heritage Front of the 1990s, which isn't that long ago, or fringe rallies in the early 2000s, still not that long ago. The White Boy Posse shatters that illusion. Their crimes in the 2010s show that violent organized white supremacy didn't disappear. It adapted, modernized, and embedded itself in criminal networks.
Like, I'm sure you can think of like 6 podcasts off the top of your head that promote these type of ideologies in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. Like,
brutal.
Andrew Tate, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, that's right. The WBP didn't just spout hate. They murdered, they spread meth, they branded their bodies with swastikas and used Nazi slogans to strike fear. Their legacy proves that white supremacy in Canada isn't just about speech or propaganda. It has spilled blood, destroyed families, and left scars on communities within the last decade.
Like Santos's kids.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Also, seeing swastikas on the faces and torsos of WBP members in court or in mugshots was a stark reminder that hate symbols are not relics in a history textbook. Mm-hmm. They're being carried and acted upon by living people in Canadian neighborhoods, which is fucked.
It's so sad.
I
don't want that in my
I don't want
neighborhoods.
that. I don't want that. The group's existence underscores a broader truth. White supremacy today doesn't always show up as rallies or organized political movements. It can be embedded in meth rings, outlaw crews, and violent gangs, giving hate a criminal infrastructure that makes it harder to trace and harder to dismiss. The White Boy Posse is a warning. White supremacy in Canada is not just yesterday's problem. It is a living force that mutates and attaches itself to whatever will spread it, whether it's politics, online extremism, or drug-fueled organized crime. At its core, the White Boy Posse wasn't just about drugs or gangland turf. It was about what happens when hate is allowed to thrive unchecked.
Take a look at the world around you right now and go back and listen to what we just said there.
Yeah, exactly. The WBP showed that white supremacy doesn't always look like a rally or a march. It can hide inside outlaw culture, ride along with the meth trade, and seep into rural towns. When hate festers in these cracks, it doesn't just stay an idea, it mutates into violence. On Canadian Creepies, we return again and again to this truth. Mm-hmm. The scariest stories are not only about ghosts and legends, but about the monsters we create ourselves. The White Boy Posse reminds us that when communities ignore or downplay hate, it breeds the very things we fear most: crime, chaos, and grief that lingers long after the gunfire stops. Their legacy isn't just history. It's a cautionary tale, echoing the present, warning us of what happens when we fail to confront extremism before it becomes a weapon.
I know that there are a lot of people out there who do have these two tattoos and once carried these type of ideologies, and you have deep regrets for that and have reformed. Do know that there are a lot of tattoo parlors out there and artists who will help you cover up those tattoos for free.
Yeah.
So there are resources to help you. Is reformed the right word?
Reform. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think reform would be the right word.
There are resources out there.
Also, you're allowed to change your mind in your life. You're allowed to go, hey, I used to be fucking racist, and that sucked.
I might have been wrong about that.
Yeah. Oops, I learned something, and now I'm refining my opinion.
And we said it again, and we'll keep saying it, but therapy is available for everyone.
We love therapy.
I saw my therapist this morning.
There's nothing I can suggest more than a good fucking counselor, honestly. Okay, so ready for current case?
Do tell.
Okay.
Very excited.
Okay. So over the Labor Day weekend in 2025, so not that long ago.
Yeah, a month ago.
About 50 masked men from a self-described Canadian men's nationalist group called the Second Sons marched through Queenston Heights Park in Niagara-on-the-Lake.
Wait, what?
Yep. They were dressed in matching black shirts with slogans like "All Thy Sons" and "He Who Guards," and wearing white masks.
I'm sorry, this was our backyard? How did I not know about this?
I know, well, because did they report on it that much in Niagara? Well, yeah. They carried flags and posed before the monument to Major General Isaac Brock. Researchers and anti-racism groups immediately raised alarms. The Second Sons imagery and tactics resembled American white national organizations like Patriot Front. Uniforms, masks, and choreographed marches and martial training. Experts warn these are active clubs designed to radicalize, recruit, and prepare for what members call an impending race war. There's no fucking race war. Not even worried about it.
We are all the same.
On my list of worries, race war is not one of them.
Somebody who looks different from me, has a different cultural belief, a different, for the most part, different religious, spiritual beliefs.
Yeah.
They are, for the most part, Catholic Church, I'm pointing fingers at the dead babies you have in your backyard. But outside of that, I don't think you're a threat. You have a swastika tattoo on your forehead. Yeah.
I'm mildly threatened by you.
But my next door,
I'm scared for my friends.
My immigrant next door neighbors,
they're nice.
They're quiet.
Just trying to live.
They are just here putting their kids on the school bus in the morning.
That's all we're all trying to do is just get through a fucking Monday. Honestly.
Fucking Monday.
Just gotta get through it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't want to say the name of the leaders of this organization just because I don't want to get doxxed.
You can Google it.
You can Google
for yourselves.
The leader of the founder of Diagolon. And Diagolon is an extremist militia-like organization that's been flagged by the RCMP. And the leader of it has openly shared extremist content online, including a Nazi salute, and has described the movement in apocalyptic terms. That's
a leap. Apocalyptic.
Yeah.
What are you worried about?
Honestly, I'm a florist. I just got to make my arrangements.
I take pictures for a living.
I got to get my arrangements out the door on time before Sally calls and asks me where it is. So here's our community's reaction. The Niagara Region Anti-Racism Association called the rally a kind of intimidation, pointing out that its very presence in a public park is meant to make people of color feel unsafe.
And if you're not familiar with that park, we do get a lot of tourists whose culture is like big picnics.
Yeah.
And
what do you mean they're tourists contributing to your fucking community?
Right.
What are you talking about?
They're here spending money for our economy, and you're going to go into these areas. For what fucking purpose?
Because you got the day off? Did you book the day off work from your IT job? Like, what are you doing?
Like... Go walk a dog. I'm so angry right now.
Niagara Parks Commission confirmed the rally had no permit and stated that it does not condone the group or its ideology. The town of Niagara-on-the-Lake also issued a statement that it does not tolerate any form of racism, hate, or discrimination. The day after the rally, the Second Sons bragged about receiving an avalanche of applications. This points to the recruitment power of visibility. Just one march can signal to sympathizers that a movement is growing and safe to join. Like the White Boy Posse two decades earlier, the Second Sons fuse extremist ideology with the trappings of outlaw culture. Strength training, coded uniforms, violent rhetoric, where the WBP weaponized hate to fuel organized crime. Groups like Second Son weaponize hate to fuel political activism and parliamentary posturing. Both show the same truth. When ideology festers, it breeds intimidation, violence, and fear. And this rally didn't happen in some distant city. It happened right here in Niagara, where we're recording this. Mm-hmm. Wherever you're listening from, this is your 6 degrees of separation to where the white supremacy is.
I was probably in that park later that weekend.
For sure. Just as the White Boy Posse turned Alberta's meth trade into a hate-fueled killing spree, the Second Sons are testing the waters of intimidation and recruitment in our own backyard, in the midst of an opioid crisis. It's not a fucking coincidence those things are lining up. Okay.
I needed to take a deep breath there.
I went further.
So bad.
I went further.
This is why we love Val.
Niagara's extremist undercurrent. There was a rally in St. Catharines.
Oh.
After the horrifying sexual assault of a child in Welland, a rally was held outside the courthouse in St. Catharines when the accused appeared. While many in the community came out in genuine solidarity with the victim and her family, the event itself was organized by a member of the Second Sons. And before we get into more of this, you want to help the child, but you're outside of the intimidating the accused? Fucking donate. Bring her some cupcakes. Buy her a stuffed animal.
She was very, if you're not familiar with the case, very, very young. She'd fucking love cupcakes.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Ask the victim services or ask the parent.
There was a GoFundMe page for the family.
Honestly, contribute $5 to that. But that being said, I do appreciate
the thought.
The thought. I appreciate the thought. Reports confirmed that the rally carried a heavy white supremacist presence. Members of the Second Sons and others in the white nationalist network used the gathering to insert their ideology into a deeply emotional community issue. The danger here is clear. Extremist groups are weaponizing public outrage and grief to recruit, radicalize, and build legitimacy. And don't get me wrong, I care about child victims of sexual assault.
It's the fact that they did it under the guise of reforming the laws designed to protect people from sexual predators.
And this child was white.
Yeah. Yeah.
That child is white. This is the same group that was just weeks earlier. So the people who organized the rally just weeks earlier were the ones that marched in Niagara-on-the-Lake with masks and flags, invoking heritage and nationalism while using intimidation tactics. Now they're inserting themselves into a crime that horrified the region, not to help, but to gain visibility and to exploit anger.
I'm quiet because I'm so mad.
What looks like a rally for justice becomes something more sinister when extremist groups are at the helm. Guys, if you want to go to a fucking rally, it's going to be run by a coalition. It's going to be, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be run by somebody who's already doing this work. You know, let's keep in mind that also biker gangs are in charge of a lot of human trafficking probably in the region. So now and that's not to throw, but we got a lot of human trafficking in Niagara. And I'm sure it's not just biker gangs. I'm sure it's a whole bunch of things. But you can't tell me that the biker gangs are not contributing to the human trafficking. They absolutely have their hands in sex trafficking. Absolutely. That's a revenue stream.
I'm not going to name names. I know people who have been trafficked by the biker gangs.
Thank you.
Like that's all I'm going to say on that I don't want to tell anybody's story for them, but yeah.
If you went to this rally with the most intensive, beautiful, pure purposes, I love that for you. That's great.
Do your research.
But please do your research. And if a big hint, like I said last episode, is if it's a group of bikers organizing it, probably fucking look into it. You know?
It's like
I'm sure there are biker groups that are nonprofits that are just like my stepdad and his buddies, like just riding around and not doing anything.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure they exist and I love them and they should exist. But these bad ones, fuck. Getting their tentacles all up in our shit.
And it's research what you're researching.
Yeah.
Like, it is 2025. There is no excuse for you to be blindly following an article you've read online just because it's there.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it's factual or it's coming from an unbiased resource or there isn't fabrications that are designed to hurt marginalized individuals.
Yeah. There's a lot going on right now, specifically in Niagara, that is the law designing things to disproportionately affect the marginalized folks in our community
without anything else in place to help them.
Fuck.
I got into this with my mom earlier too. As we discussed before. We were amped up before we even started reading.
Yeah. So what looks like a rally for justice becomes something more sinister when extremist groups are at the helm. They feed off community pain, fear, and anger. That's what they leech off of. And then they redirect it toward their ideology. This mirrors how groups like the White Boy Posse once blurred the line between crime and hate. But now in 2025, the Second Sons are doing it under the guise of fucking activism. The lesson for Niagara is chilling. Hate doesn't always march under its own banner. Sometimes it wraps itself around legitimate causes, inserting itself where communities are most vulnerable. Just as the White Boy Posse showed how ideology could fuel crime, the Second Sons are showing how ideology can hijack outrage.
Finger snaps again.
Those fuckers. And now I had some other stats I kind of just wanted to throw in here because I feel like it's relevant. Again, because just like I understand that the way that the victim was assaulted was very intrusive. Anybody's free to look that up.
Yeah. It's fucking tragic.
Awful and tragic. But this is by far not even the first fucking child that's happened to in Niagara this year.
Or by this person.
Or probably by that person.
Like
well, no, that takes it off my point when you say that.
Oh, sorry.
Shut up.
Sorry, I'll let you take them. Sorry.
But that's true, because most people are repeat offenders. That is true. But I don't want to make the episode about them, because they, unfortunately, what makes it tricky is they also, the perpetrator of the crime operated under like a trans identity, but it was a farce. Like, they are not trans. They just, I don't know why.
Which damages that community too.
Well, I don't know. Well, obviously, if they had no regard for like a person under 5, they're not going to have any regard for like the trans community as a whole. But
something is broken in your brain.
Yeah. Okay. So Canadian creepies. Am I right? How do I say this? Okay. I tried to find the number of Indigenous children. Like, you can't, it's very hard to find any. Sexual assault is so underreported. It's so underreported,
Grossly.
Especially by everyone. So what I was trying to say was, the people who, if you want to be emboldened and do some activist work around the children who are being disproportionately affected by childhood sexual assault, it is Indigenous children. And we should start with Indigenous children. And I don't have any clear data to say this is fact, but there are schools of thought that have long speculated that a lot of sexual assault happening to Indigenous children are happening within foster care and the child welfare system. Mm-hmm. Because the number of Indigenous children in the child welfare system is disproportionate, like 53%, despite only being 8% of the population or something. So basically what I was trying to do is incite some, by giving you some, you the listener, not Amanda, I'm trying to give you guys some like facts, and to sort of like, I guess, encourage you with any activist. If you are passionate about being an activist working with children of sexual assault, you should start with Indigenous children in the foster care system. Or you shouldn't start with that story. You should know these facts.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Indigenous children are heavily overrepresented in foster care and out-of-home care systems in Canada. In 2019, the First Nations Canadian Incidence Study found that among First Nations children, the substantiated sexual abuse rate was 1.93 per 1,000 children investigations. That's two children per every 1,000. For non-Indigenous children, that rate was at 0.37 per 1,000 in substantiated investigations. So for everybody understands that? Almost 2 Indigenous children are sexually assaulted in comparison to half of one white person. Not even half. 1/3 of one white person. Okay? Indigenous children face much higher rates of maltreatment investigations, substantiation, and placements in out-of-home care. This is national administrative data. In 2019, 26,680 children aged 0 to 14 years were in foster care. That's 4.5 per 1,000. Now, not all of those were Indigenous. These data do not reflect underreporting. They reflect cases that are reported, investigated, and substantiated or not. Okay. That's just, they're just saying like 27,000 children in general are in. Okay. What we know about underreporting of sexual assault. We can look to general knowledge on sexual assault reporting and some in Indigenous context to try and reason by inference. So sexual assault is among the most underreported crimes. Studies suggest that in many jurisdictions, less than 5% of all sexual assaults, especially the most severe, are ever reported to law enforcement. And how many women are sexually assaulted? One in what? 1 in 5?
3.
Sorry, 1 in 3. So one of every 3 women you know, probably none of them has reported their sexual assault.
When they say it's happened to them, fucking believe them. If you are a man who is worried about being falsely accused, maybe self-reflect at your own character.
Yeah, go to counseling.
We've said it again.
We'll say it one more time.
Everybody benefits from therapy.
Everyone.
Shiny, happy people.
And the reason I'm saying I'm talking about Indigenous children as well being disproportionately affected is if you help the people who need the most help, then all the people who need help in different areas along the way that are less affected, that help's just going to be there for them.
Yeah.
Because the people who need the most help are being helped. So anybody who needs less help, that help's going to be there because the systems are in place. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me.
I hope I explained that well. In Canada, surveys, for example, the General Social Survey on Victimization, show that only a small fraction of sexual assaults are reported to police. For example, about 6% of victims reported the assault to police in a given 12-month reference period. And that could be like adults.
Yeah. It's something like, and to sit there and say, hey, if it happened that bad, why didn't you call the police? If you are privileged enough to have not experienced it, you cannot say you would do something different because you don't know.
You have no idea what you would do.
It fucks with you mentally so hard.
Yeah. You question yourself.
Yeah. Did I do something to deserve this? Maybe,
did I not remove consent correctly?
Yeah. Like, so it takes so much strength and courage for those women who have gone forward, and that's 6% to go forward
straight up
and do what
Queens.
They have done. So again, if someone is saying that they have gone through this, fucking
just believe them.
Believe them.
If they're taking the time to be vulnerable and tell you that, believe them.
Yeah.
And also, that being said, the amount of people who falsely report sexual assault is the exact same to the amount of people who falsely report robbery.
So if you're concerned about...
I'd rather just believe everyone.
Proven until...
And make sure everybody gets the help they need.
Innocent until proven guilty. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
If you're... There's no reason why you should be so afraid of falsely being... They have...
I think it's also because other people's... Sometimes... I think
it's
a lot of
perception.
Men... It's perception. And I do think a lot of cis men who have... I think a lot of cis men just... don't understand the concept of sexual assault. Like, they fully don't understand because they've
and that's
probably
our education system.
Yeah, they probably accidentally or on purpose committed it and are whatever. As well, I'm not saying that all men, but sometimes guys, come on.
Get your shit together.
Come on. But no, I'm definitely not accusing all men of sexually assaulting a woman.
The men who do look just like you and we can't tell the difference.
Thank you. That's what I'm trying to say. And the men who do are very good at it.
And
they've been doing it.
Charismatic and the type of guy you'd bring home to your dad, and you wouldn't most of the time. And you wouldn't second guess. Like, there was an instant when I was working at a restaurant and there was one guy there and I was like, fuck, he's creepy as hell. Mm-hmm. Like, he'd walk through the restaurant like giggling to himself, and I'm like, there is not a chance in hell that I would ever, it's pouring rain, and be like, hey, do you need a ride home so you're not walking in this? Just because, like, I had that preconceived notion that this guy is unsafe. And then one day the dishwasher didn't show up and we opened up the newspaper. He had been arrested for sexual assault in a grocery store of minors and had warrants across Ontario. And I was like, this guy was like the sweetest person ever. I would have felt safe being like, hey, it's pouring rain. Get in my car. Yeah. I'm going to do you a favor. So we don't know. Yeah. We can't tell. You don't have a swastika on your forehead that says, hey.
Yeah. And you should just believe people when they tell you.
Yeah.
Just believe people when they tell you. Oh, what I was going to say is I also think, and I should say it more this way, bless these sweet men's souls who like who have never considered the fact that maybe they've done something themselves that made a woman uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Or they are just a genuine guy and they just can't wrap their minds about the horror of that their coping mechanism is to just not believe and go, that can't be. You know what I mean? Especially if it's a friend, like, you know, your buddy.
And that's a big part of it.
I think it's a coping mechanism.
Oh my God, what is the guy's name? He's a very popular comedian, and he actually talked about this.
Russell Peters?
No, I want to say Daniel something.
Oh, I don't know.
And he was like, I was the type of guy who didn't believe it, and then my friend did it. He fucking did it. And I was just floored because never in a million years. And he's like, so like, he basically is saying what we're saying. He's like, we don't know. It's probably the guy you're sitting next to right now.
Oh, because like, no.
But he was very adamant. He's like, as soon as I realized it was my friend, my close buddy, my confidant, like somebody who I would, you know, have on a rough day, call up on the phone and realize that he's done this and like hurt these people. Yeah. He's like, it clicked for me then that fuck, shit really is bad as these women are saying.
Yes. Thank you. That man is correct.
Bravo to you. Finger snaps.
Honestly. Okay. Among Indigenous communities, there are documented barriers and reasons for non-reporting, including distrust of law enforcement, fear of reprisal, stigma, family and community pressure, normalization of violence, and lack of culturally safe supports. In some Indigenous communities, community-based reports and qualitative studies found that reporting of family violence is particularly low, often hidden, silenced, or unacknowledged. The silence around sexual violence is commonly recognized in Indigenous justice and victim support literature. Normalization, historic trauma, shame, fear of retribution, or of not being believed all suppress reporting. So here are some possible relationships or correlation implications between children in foster care and the underreporting of sexual assault. Though we lack direct statistics tying the two, combing the known data and theoretical perspectives allows us to infer some relationships and consider possible correlations. So higher risk environments. Indigenous children in foster care often come from backgrounds of systemic disadvantage, trauma, family disruption, and prior maltreatment. This background may increase their vulnerability to repeated abuse, including sexual, both before and after entry into care. But also, I don't know. I don't want to comment on any family that has on any Indigenous family that has had their child taken from them, because I feel that has been the system more working against them.
If you are interested more in the history Canada has had surrounding this, we did do an entire summer series on the residential schools and some of the surrounding themes that have even gone into today and the lack of what is being done for these communities. So it's a 6-piece series. Go check that out. It's very, very informative. There are resources listed in our show notes there as well. And like I said, research fucking everything. You have the internet available to you. Listen, go Google survivalist stories and
residential school survival stories.
Tomorrow, when we're recording this, tomorrow is Truth and Reconciliation Day. So I feel like this is right?
Yeah.
Perfect timing. This was not planned, but it just kind of coincided.
That's right.
I was like, wait a minute, tomorrow is...
The nature of reporting is complicated and I skipped a bunch because I feel like that what I had written there was...
I'm lost on where we are right now anyways, but I know this is your thing, so you take the lead.
The nature of reporting is complicated and multi-layered. Some disclosures are made to non-authoritative persons and do not enter formal systems. So many Indigenous children are served in multiple jurisdictions, which makes data integration hard. Mm-hmm. Ethical and methodical constraints limit research with minors, especially vulnerable ones. So many studies rely on retrospective self-reports by adults. And that's why there's not much data on what I was saying.
Well, it kind
but
of
how I'm trying to bring it together.
it kind of goes into, not to like denote the sexual assault among kids right now. This is very relevant as well, but like the anti-abortion stuff that's going on, and everyone's like, oh, late-term abortions, they're using that as birth control.
There's no such thing as a late-term abortion.
There is no data on how many women are using this as late-term abortions because it's not fucking happening.
Yeah.
Like, doctors have come forward and legitimately said, we don't have the data because it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
People who are having late-term abortions have no choice.
They're just giving birth, guys. They're giving birth, putting those babies up for adoption, maybe, or keeping them. And that's none of our fucking business.
And if it is,
and none of
if
yours.
there is a late-term abortion where they're actively terminating the pregnancy, it is because
something has gone wrong in utero.
Something has gone horrifically, heartbreakingly, devastatingly wrong. And that mother
probably really wanted that baby.
And is
devastated.
Gutted.
Yeah. And now you're saying she's
choice.
having a late-term abortion.
Because she didn't want this baby, and all women are the devil for abortions.
Shut the fuck up. Everybody's gotta shut the fuck up.
Stop giving men microphones. What was that from?
No more men should have podcasts. Give every woman a microphone. Just kidding. Okay, so there are many. Okay, so the next thing is just like, here is how to do something. Here's how to do something. Yay! If you want to actually get involved and make a true difference, there are many evidence-based, survivor-centered approaches that focus instead on prevention, healing, and support rather than harsher punishment. So I was trying to say, like, what is, how can we help victims of sexual violence without just doing harsher punishments? Because that's going to disproportionately affect our marginalized communities. So one is culturally safe, accessible support services. So we can expand trauma-informed, culturally relevant counseling for children and families, especially Indigenous, Black, newcomer, and LGBTQ2S plus communities.
I think we kind of touched on that a little bit in one of our residential school.
We did, and we'll keep saying it again.
Like the Indigenous kids, if they are being displaced, taken out of their homes for whatever reason, if you are concerned about their safety, they should be put in homes of other Indigenous families.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We can support Indigenous-led healing programs, land-based healing, elders, ceremonies, cultural reconnection, which have shown strong benefits for children coping with trauma. And fund child advocacy centers and specialized sexual assault centers in undeserved areas so children can access coordinated supports without re-traumatization. Another thing is prevention and education. Comprehensive, age-appropriate sexual violence prevention education in schools tailored to different cultures and communities. Teach consent, bodily autonomy, boundaries, and healthy relationships from an early age. And community-based peer education. For example, Youth Teaching Youth has shown promise in increasing discourse and reducing stigma.
It makes sense to me.
Right? The third is to reduce barriers and disclosure. Create safe, child-friendly reporting pathways outside of police and courts, for example, independent child protection advocates, confidential hotlines, restorative justice pathways, and train teachers, doctors, social workers, and foster parents to recognize trauma signs and to respond supportively when children disclose. Also, normalize conversations about abuse so children can feel believed and less alone. Just always believe the children. You should always believe the children. The children are not manipulative enough or mean enough to fool adults. I fucking promise you that.
Yeah.
They're not. Even at teens, if they're fooling you, it's because you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
It's because you're not emotionally fucking available to them.
I think a great idea, like it would extend a bit more than just the school systems, but like you have to have 40 hours of community service in order to graduate high school.
Yeah.
Make a kid-friendly fucking hotline out of that so that they're reporting to older kids.
Yeah.
And that would make them feel a lot safer than an adult who may not believe them.
Yeah, exactly. I like that idea. That's a good idea. Number 4 is strengthen child welfare without over-surveillance. So improve oversight of foster care and home groups where abuse risk can be high. More frequent independent checks and Indigenous-led oversight bodies can help. Ensure children in care have consistent caseworkers and advocates who are accountable to them, not just the system, and shift funding toward keeping families together safely. So addressing poverty, housing insecurity, and addiction instead of removal, since systemic inequities often funnel Indigenous children into foster care. Into foster care where abuse risk can be high, as I said. Number 5, restorative and community-based justice options. For many families and communities, restorative or transformative justice can feel safer and more healing than carceral approaches. These models emphasize offender accountability, survivor empowerment, and community healing while avoiding the disproportionate harm of incarceration. Indigenous legal traditions, for example, healing circles, community justice committees, have been used successfully in some regions of Canada.
Go them.
Yay. And number 6, long-term healing and resilience. Offer long-term therapy and support, not just crisis intervention. Many survivors need years of care, as we fucking know. Invest in programs that strengthen protective factors for children, stable housing, connection to culture, mentoring, and community belonging. Support families of victims too. Parents and siblings also need help processing trauma and supporting the child's recovery. The bottom line is the most effective way to help child victims of sexual assault in Canada without defaulting to harsher punishments is to center survivors' needs, reduce systemic barriers, and invest in prevention, healing, and community-based supports. This means shifting resources away from carceral systems and toward Indigenous-led services, culturally safe counseling, family supports, prevention education, and restorative justice. As we close today's episode, we want to pause and reflect on the victims whose names should not be forgotten. People like Lori Santos, an innocent mother whose life was stolen in a senseless act of violence. Her death and others connected to the White Boy Posse remind us that behind every headline, there are families, communities, and futures forever changed.
These stories also remind us to stay vigilant. Extremist groups thrive when we underestimate them, when they're allowed to hide in plain sight. Awareness is our first defense. Knowing the signs, asking the questions, and supporting anti-racism efforts in our community matters more than ever.
If you want to do something constructive today, center Indigenous voices and the voices of people of color in your life. Donate time or money to organizations doing real community work. If you want to stick it to groups like WBP, the most rebellious thing you can do is support causes that uplift people they would target. It drives them mad. One concrete place to start is payyourrent.ca. They help support Indigenous-led housing and community initiatives. Small acts of solidarity add up.
Act up. And remember, we want to hear from you guys, creeps. So email us at CanadianCreepiesPodcast@gmail.com or reach out to us on Instagram at Canadian Creepies to nominate your Creep of the Week or to share your hometown horrors. You can even text us a Canadian Creepy of your own. We would love to feature your stories.
We would. The White Boy Posse wanted to be feared, and for a time, they were.
Their crimes still echo in the prairies, a chilling reminder of what happens when hate collides with power.
Thank you to Kyle McDonald for editing and composing our theme song.